Welcome back to Real Phonies, where we take a love for movies and television and combine it with very little knowledge about movies and television. I'm your host, Christian. Joined with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Joseph.
Yellow.
And Jehu.
Caca!
I was kind of hoping, Jehu, that you would figure out a way to do the caca in the Dune girl scream thing.
I wish I would have. I did feel like I should do something special for Dune, and I thought of it all the way over, and I couldn't think of something.
I found a TikTok, and I'm sure it's fake.
Right.
I'm going to admit that up front, where this girl is singing the screaming girl bit from the Dune soundtrack, and it goes immediately into Prince of Egypt, and it's the most beautiful fucking thing I've ever heard. Hans Zimmer wrote both, by the way.
Right.
Do you think that wherever James Horner is in the afterlife, he's just so fucking pissed that he just didn't do this fucking movie?
Probably.
Because it's just a James Horner score done by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Kind of better.
Look, I don't want to shit on James Horner. He's got some good shit. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it is good stuff.
I mean, so does Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dune 2.
Yeah. I don't think it's called Dune 2. Is it
Dune Part 2. I'm calling it Dune 2. Dune 2 chicks at the same time.
Dune to party.
Yeah, oh, that would be so great. All the people are back. Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Rebecca Ferguson, Stellan Skarsgård, new players, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh, Christopher Walken. Probably other people I'm missing. It's a big
You miss Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin's coming back. Yeah. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. Oh, what else do we need to say? Guys, what do we think of this movie?
Man, it's funny. I definitely have more to talk about this one than the last one, which was basically like, this is great and I wish everything was like it, Yeah. And this was great and I wish everything was like it, but I think there's more to talk about because whereas the first one was pretty much a note-for-note adaptation of the first book, this one takes its own roads and changes some characters a little and one character a lot. So
yes.
there's a lot to talk about in spoilers in this. I loved this. I mean, I don't even know. I can't even understand not loving it.
It's gigantic in scope.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I saw a movie that was this, grandiose in scale. Like, it is just a huge movie. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I feel like it breezes by. I was in every scene of every moment. It could have been another hour, and I would have been just as in. I fucking loved this movie. I hate that it comes out in March because we're going to come up with some bullshit reason in January of next year why this shouldn't be the Best Picture winner, but it should be the Best Picture winner. It is an incredible movie with the directing. I don't know the last time anyone's directed anything to the scale at which Denis directed this movie. And number two, the performances are fantastic. I have a little asterisk on one of them, which probably get better as we get into spoilers. But it's an incredible time.
You're alluding to this movie falls within the category of, I think, experience movies. It's definitely like, I think it's. I don't generally advise people to go to the theaters and watch things because it's expensive as shit. But I think this one is greatly aided by just the theater experience, the 100%. Full immersion thing. I mean, just visually, audio. Like, everything is just, like, assaulting your senses at all times in the best possible way. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say I like this movie. It's better than Transformers. But I also am going to say I don't think it's quite as... I think it is closer to, like, a Gravity than I think it is to, like, a Lord of the Rings.
Oh, fuck you, dude. Just genuinely go fuck yourself.
So what do you mean by that? That it's just the experience?
I do think it is.
Because, I mean, Gravity is just the experience.
That is exactly what I mean. I'm going to give credit where credit is due because that was my pitch coming into doing this episode. And then I listened to Boom Bam from this past week where they also talk about Dune for a bit. And somebody brings up the parallel between Dune and Avatar. It's like, oh, you know what? They're not as far apart as I think people might think that they are.
I disagree strongly.
Well, we'll talk about it.
But I also think it's really hard to judge. So when Dune Part 1 came out, it was a day and date release on screens and on HBO Max. And I watched it twice that weekend, both ways.
Yeah.
To really try to compare.
Yeah.
And I believe the best way to watch it was in the theater, but I still think the movie is such a high caliber I didn't lose much by watching it at home. I think it's harder to judge this one that way without that same test. Like, it's Gravity, you cannot watch at home.
No.
Like, you cannot do it.
Right.
And whereas Dune Part 1, I could measure that. I can't measure it right now for Dune Part 2. I would be curious to see how that holds up when it's on Max in 5 months or whatever. But
one thing I was thinking about this movie and its successes and failures, I don't think we're ever going to be able to think of separately from COVID. Like, it was the movie that, when you think about the day and date of being on the screen and at home, I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first one that anyone gave a shit about. And it's why that even though that movie didn't make enough money in theaters to, I think, even break even, it's still viewed as a huge success because so many people saw it.
Part 2 has already grossed higher than
that was another thing. The second one's already way above it because it's of what it is, although I think it still has an uphill battle to make what they want.
It still needs like $600 million.
But man, when they consider people streaming this shit for years and decades from now, they're making that third one. They're making that series regardless.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't really say what the plot is, but it picks up immediately after Dune Part 1.
Like, immediately.
Yeah. Paul is, taken in by the Fremen, learn the Fremen ways, and eventually leads a revolution across Arrakis against the Harkonnen people. You want to talk about spoilers?
I'm guessing we're all better than Transformers.
Oh, yeah. Far and away. Yeah, I will never watch Transformers again. I will just watch Dune.
Yes, spoilers.
I mean, there's a lot of places we can start. I think differences is a big one, Jehu, you alluded to, but I'll add this little note first, which is Christopher Walken. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's bad in this movie. No, I want to make that clear. I think I think it's a very understated performance.
Right.
I think he carries a lot of loneliness.
Yeah.
He's the man at the top, but he's also basically watching his failure in real time.
Right.
And I think that's really good of him. However, every time he talks, all I hear is that Foo Fighters. It undercuts.
It is such. I mean, to be fair, if we're talking about, you're talking about making its money back and them still going. If I was going to say, I think one of the things that's good about that is I do think that this, if it ends up being a trilogy or no more, a trilogy will be remembered as one of the great sci-fi fantasy epics of this time, and I think that. Not that long from now, Christopher Walken will be far enough away from the public consciousness to separate just this performance from the Christopher Walken impression that every single person does. Because I think that even kind of putting aside the fact that I don't know, he's a very famous idiolect, the way that he talks, but I think that fits for royalty. Because it's funny to us because it's Christopher Walken and we know what that's supposed to be, but I think in removing that context just in this world, I kind of like the idea that he talks a little differently than everybody else because he's the emperor.
Yeah.
It was the first nuanced performance he had done in 20 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the thing, because people keep casting him to be the Christopher Walken caricature.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of talking and people's ability, how taken back were you when Austin Butler was doing a Stellan Skarsgård impression?
I was like, this dude just fucking likes doing impressions.
I fucking loved it.
I didn't hate it, but I was like, bro,
my only note against it is, at this point, so number one, Jehu and I texted about this, waiting to introduce Fade until his birthday at the Gladiator Arena is better than the book.
Yeah, totally.
That fucking kicks ass, because they replace Fade with Rabin, or however you say his fucking name, in part 1.
Right.
A lot of that plot is Fade plot.
Right.
And truth be told, I think it actually works better in the movie this way than it does in the book. But we'd already established a group of Harkonnen characters that none of them try to talk like Baron Harkonnen.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I was like, that's kind of a weird choice. But then I was like, but Fade would do that.
Because he wants to be him. I think it does.
It works.
You can make the case that it fits the character.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, Austin, you could have come up.
I also think he knocks it out.
No, he nails it. It's a great impression.
Also he's just so fucking creepy in this.
Yeah.
He just dives head first into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So some of the changes that I want to talk about, and Fade is a good launching point because it's one of the big disappointing changes for me in this. Is so we get Lady Margot, played by Lea Seydoux,
right?
Who born to play a fucking Bene Gesserit.
Right? I mean, no, totally.
Every role she's ever had has been a fucking Bene Gesserit, and she's fantastic in it. But Margot has a husband, Lord Fenric, who is really loyal to the Emperor. He's at Fade's birthday scene and he knows his wife's going to fucking bone Fade. He's on board with all that. They cast Tim Blake Nelson in that role. Filmed it and cut him from it.
That's and Denis Villeneuve has said, I don't go back and add scenes that I've cut. Heartbreaking.
That sounds so good. But from what you've just told me, that feels perfect.
He's the ultimate cuck. Yeah. And like Tim Blake Nelson could fucking do
absolutely.
It. Yeah. Real disappointed at that one.
I mean, I get it, Denis, but like, it's already 2 hours and 40. You know, like, what's another 5?
That is the thing. Like, it wasn't like it really got them any extra shows by cutting off the like probably 20 minutes they did with this character they cut and another character that they cut.
Well, and I do think in their defense, you hit the point you needed to hit. Like Margot is the important part of that story.
Right.
But God, what a fucking cast.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other, Jay, you kind of alluded to it, the other one is Hawat, who is in Dune Part 1 and just not addressed at all in Dune Part 2. And so a lot of shit happens on Getty Prime that we don't talk about, but Hawat being a major part, he's been enslaved by the Harkonnens or captured or whatever fucking word you want to use. And I don't think that the justification for the slave is very good in the movie. They're not being drugged. What does it hurt having Hawat be that person and have it be his form of revenge? Like, what do we lose by not making it that?
Right. I mean, again, we talked about this when you talked about Dune last week, that they've kind of just decided the Mentats aren't a thing in this. And it's just kind of a bummer to me because, I mean, all three of the sort of like guilds that you meet, the Mentats, the Bene Gesserit, and the Navigators, all play a part in explaining why this world is like it is, why things from our time, some things carry over and other things don't. And the Mentats are how you explain why they don't have computers and stuff. So I think not having him there is a bummer. And his like scene at the end during the confrontation is very good. So I would have liked to have seen that. So that was kind of a bummer to me.
Yeah, I mean and he's got an interesting plot. And again, like, do I think that story necessarily really serves Paul?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
It is kind of fat a little bit. That's worth trimming off. But, like, there are really good emotional moments. Like, Hawat thinks Jessica is the spy that caused the Harkonnens, to take over and betray him. And so he's kind of working against the Harkonnens in revenge. He's also kind of working against Paul because he thinks Paul's dead.
Right, he thinks Paul is dead, but he thinks that Jessica's still alive out there, yes.
And so he's working against her, and then he realizes, I've been fucking over this dude the whole time.
Right.
And he kills himself. But, like, that's a good emotional beat that the story is missing. Now, again, is it essential to Paul becoming, Lisan al-Hayib? No. But I would have liked for it to have been there.
I don't know if that's part of it, but I think a lot of the stuff that they cut out is to not let Paul off the hook.
Yeah, well, you briefly mentioned this last week, was how much are they pulling from Messiah, and it's a lot.
Okay, because since this seems to be fresher in your mind, I want to ask, Jessica wasn't as manipulative in Dune as she was in this movie. Like, for instance, she didn't want him to drink the blue water in Dune, if I'm remembering it correctly. And whereas this, she's the one who makes that happen.
So I read up on this a little bit. Okay. It's a big debate on the internet about, some people being like, Paul's a white savior and blah, blah, blah. And like, you just don't fucking get it. Like, this movie makes it perfectly clear that Paul is the villain of this story. But when Frank Herbert wrote Dune in 1965, he thought it was clear, right, that Paul's the bad guy. Right. He's setting all this stuff up. And then everyone read it and was like, man, Paul's awesome. Paul's the hero of the story. Right. He leads this people group that's been, abused and punished and to victory against their... And then he wrote Dune Messiah, and spoilers for Dune Messiah. I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you right now. There's literally a conversation between Paul and Stilgar about how he compares to Adolf Hitler, and in fact, how he compares to 1,000 Adolf Hitlers. Right. Like, that's not even like it's Hitler they're talking about.
Not Space Hitler.
Not Space Hitler, the Hitler. And because he wanted he realized that it wasn't clear enough.
Right.
And so I think they didn't want that problem for the movie.
Right.
They wanted to make it more direct.
I guess we're just, grazing over some things when we're talking about this because I mean, one of the things that first of all, they definitely changed the amount of time we spend in this part of things.
Yeah.
In the book, we spend
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Whereas this, it's obviously less than 9 months.
Yeah, less than a pregnancy.
And one of the things that happens in the book is that Paul and Chani have a child, and it dies, and that's kind of one of the things that really sets him off. And I kind of think leaving that out is good, because again, that's something that kind of lets him off the hook. Oh, this was his breaking point. He didn't really have that kind of breaking point in this. He just he decided he was going to do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the other big, there's several, but one of the big changes that really makes me interested to how they're going to adapt Messiah is that Chani is an entirely different character.
100%.
I think Stilgar and Chani are the two most different people, and what I think it really works in the movie is because you need a character to quickly get. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, right? Like they're not trying to make a 3.5 hour movie, or they would have done it. But Stilgar is the key to get him in,
right?
And so you make him just all in right away. He's all in. This guy's the Lisan al-Halib. I'm following this dude to my grave. But by making Chani the dissenter, like, you don't have to introduce new characters for that.
Right.
We've already fucking teased the two of them so hard in Dune Part 1 without really showing them in Dune Part 1. And I think that really works. I have two asterisks to that. One, in the book, Chani's all fucking in.
She is all in.
She knows the plan about him marrying Irulan. I mean, everything. She is all aboard. So obviously that story's going to be different. The other thing, and I mean, I don't know, maybe you noticed this about Dune Part 1, but in the book, Chani's father is the imperial ecologist that helps Paul and Jessica escape the Harkonnens. Right. In the movie, it's a woman. So if it's supposed to be the same character, that's Chani's mother.
Right.
And I really feel like if you made Chani different, there's a really good scene there between the two of them about her mother dying to protect the person who she thought was prophesied.
Right.
And how she has a problem with that. Like, I think it gives her you gave her a motivation, and we never fucking addressed it. And I don't, again, did I need it? No, but I think it probably could have added a little bit of meat to the bones. Right. You're not saying anything.
Do you have any, like, in the weeds things to get into?
It's funny. We texted about this stuff. It's like, this is going to be too geeky for the podcast. Yeah. And then we just you're saying every bit of that shit.
I want you to get it out, because I want to get into my bitchy bits.
Okay,
I mean, I have a ton, but go ahead.
Believe me, I can come back around later.
I mean, I kind of feel like the things that you're complaining about are kind of, I think, the root problems of why I don't think there's enough, like, meat on the bone for this, like, the
it's
actual
just
story.
So much story to tell.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when Dune is presented to me before these movies came out as, like, this sci-fi epic, it's always like, it's so complicated. I don't know. Most people, like, can't even understand it. It's too much to take in.
Right.
Too much. Too in the weeds kind of thing. And I don't feel that way about these movies at all. I think they're, like, very dead simple as far as, like, what's going on. And to that end, as far as you're kind of talking about, like, grazing over plot points, I kind of just feel like we are just, like, only doing the main plot, only hitting the main plot points until we get to the point where, Paul wins.
Right.
The whole story to me, I mean, including Dune 1, but especially this one, just feels doomed the whole time.
Right.
There's not, like, a lot of tension going on because it always feels like Paul's going to win. It always feels like what's going to happen is what happens. And everybody along the way, except for Chani and maybe Javier Bardem, whose name I can't remember. Stilgar. Feel very much more like narrative blocks to steer Paul that direction as opposed to, like, fleshed out characters. And I think a lot of that is because exactly what you're saying, like, it sounds like there are a lot of things in here that are kind of meant to build out the world and build out these characters. We don't have time for it because we're getting Paul to his ascension.
Right.
Well, I do think one of the reasons why I think this is such a good adaptation, kind of the point you're talking about, is almost a counter argument, but a little bit. But there are no spoilers in Dune. This makes it one of the weirdest books to read, and why it's so different than anything you've ever read. And you can disagree with me if you want. He tells you exactly what the fuck's going to happen. Before every battle who's going to win. They tell you everything. And so you're like, what the fuck did it, like, what? Like, and I've used this example before. like 10 pages in, Yui's betraying the Duke.
Right.
And you got to wait fucking 400 pages to get to that point. But, like, there are no surprises, and what's interesting is watching how it all builds together. But I don't think you can do that in a movie that way. Like,
I mean, the only way you'd be able to do it is with internal narration, and that can come off looking cheesy, like it sort of did in the Lynch
one.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, they it sounds like they stripped out a lot of the really sci-fi elements.
I think it's better in part 2 than it is in part 1. But yeah, the Mentats is gone completely.
Right. And I don't know. I still feel like on a surface level of the story, it still kind of just feels like Space America and Space Russia fighting over space oil in the space Middle East.
Right.
It's not far off.
I mean, the thing is, that's literally the point the guy was trying to make.
Yeah, you got exactly what the stuff he was telling.
There is a segment on the internet who's complaining about the changes to Chani and that, it's woke gone wild and shit like that. And it's like, that's what you're complaining about this story? This story, trust me, is way more opposed to your way of life than you're really looking into.
Oh, for sure. Well, there's an entire segment of the political structure in CHOAM that the movie doesn't even have. Mm-hmm. And if that's not as, like, anti-corporation,
right?
Like, it is really makes out like capitalism to be the fucking bad guy.
Right.
Also, Chani is the only person who's not explicitly a bad guy that even like harbors any feelings of like not goodness towards Paul that matter. Right. Which I think is the only interesting thing. Like, it's not that interesting if everybody fears him and loves him and whatever. Like, the fact that they put her in there to at the end like kind of have like this note of tension is interesting.
Right.
I
would argue. I'd say. I think Gurney realizes shit's going wrong, but Gurney is also like, well, I don't really have a fucking option here.
What two of my favorite like tweets or memes I've seen about this is the first one is, if I had a nickel for every time Josh Brolin and Dave Bautista fought because one of them murdered the other one's family, I'd have 2 nickels, which means having twice. And the other one is, if I had a nickel for every time Timothée Chalamet couldn't marry the woman of his dreams, so he settled for Florence Pugh, I'd have 2 nickels.
Well, on that, I mean, that's probably the most different scene from the book, because that scene in the book is fucking brutal to the princess. It's like, hey, I'm going to marry you, but you're nothing to me. This is my main.
Literally, we're never going to have children.
We're never going to. You can write stories about me. Yeah. That's what you can do. And this was the other way. This was, it was brutal for Chani instead.
I did really fucking love that she was writing the journal entries while it was going on.
Yeah.
I thought that was something that was sorely missing in the first one.
I agree.
And I think it really added here. I was happy to have it in there.
I mean, it is interesting to, like, because that is in the Lynch one from really early on.
Right.
But, like, it is interesting to see what the rest of the universe thinks about what's happening on Arrakis, because we only see it from Arrakis in the first movie.
Yeah. I don't entirely disagree with the point you're making.
Yeah.
I do think there are opportunities for more to be there. I don't think the movie is nothing. I do think it has something to say. Now, mind you, you got it right away. I think a lot of people aren't getting it. Uh-huh. A lot on both sides. You talk about the woke thing. I've heard a lot of people complain it's a white savior movie. I'm like, motherfucker, it is not that.
Right.
People talking about, well, why are there no Arabic people as on Arrakis? And it's like, well, it's 20,000 years in the future. Like, if Arabic people, maybe they don't want to settle on a fucking desert planet.
Maybe they've had enough. They're on the whatever the tropical Jamaica planet is.
Yeah. You can't apply the rules of today to this story in that regard, right? Like, the point of that is that myth and religion and politics and all this stuff, that's the stuff that language. These things continue.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, I've always been a big believer that sci-fi is able to say the best thing about society when it comes at it from the side. Mm-hmm. The Star Trek episode with the split-face aliens doesn't hit you as hard if it's just a black guy and a white guy. It says more about that to people when they are halfway through it and realize, this is what these guys are talking about.
Yeah. So I think people are generally dumb.
I mean, that's
That's the point I'm trying to make to you. I don't think the vast majority of people can read Dune and they would like it or get it. And I think this tells you the points you need to, and in fact, takes some of the things and ups it up a little bit to make it even more fucking obvious, and people still aren't getting it.
Yeah, I guess in my heart, I just feel like it is more of a space fantasy than sci-fi in the presentation that it's given to us.
Well, one thing...
I think it is.
Yeah.
One thing that I think that's kind of on your side is one of the things that Sarah was annoyed by is they spend way too many scenes of just Paul and Chani, like, staring over picturesque deserts like it's a Lifetime movie when we could be using that for like moving the story forward.
But I don't know if I agree with that because I think a lot of the problem is we spend too much time moving the story forward.
Fair enough.
I feel like there's not enough dialogue in this movie.
Yeah.
I think that would answer. I think there's. I think Jehu's kind of right on this one. It's a very visual movie.
Yeah.
Denny tries to do a lot just in what you see. And again, I don't know that people are always smart enough to get it just on what they see. Maybe they need to be told something.
Right. Show don't tell is the rule, but sometimes you got to tell.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't be sure that, particularly if maybe you didn't always do a great job of showing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of the movie I don't think is that bad. I think most of the times when Timothée Chalamet is getting too serious, I don't fully buy it.
I think he's fucking awesome in this movie.
We'll talk about it. I think he has some good scenes. But there's a scene, just the silliest fucking thing I've ever seen, somewhere in the middle, where Paul is having a conversation with Jessica, and Jessica's like, "Your sister is telling me blah-da-dee, blah-da-dee, blah." And Paul says, "Well, you can tell my sister blah-da-dee, blah-da-dee, blah."
Yeah.
And Jessica says, "Well, your sister says back to you, blah-da-dee, blah-da-dee, freedom, blah-da-dee, blah." And then Paul says, "That's not freedom!" It's a really fucking silly scene.
I do think to the fantasy point, not having Aaliyah be born is a weird choice. However, pause there, and this doesn't really count for the movie because they have Paul kill the Baron.
Right.
Aaliyah kills the Baron.
Right.
And it's a little 3-year-old murder witch.
Right.
And I don't know that works in live action as well. So I'm like, probably the in utero was a good choice, but it made for some weird fucking scenes.
I mean, that was my least favorite change because, we were talking about the weird shit they leave out. That shit's fucking weird.
Yeah.
And definitely that was David Lynch's favorite part of the whole
he
thing.
loved Little Murder Witch.
Yeah.
And then, are we gonna do more? Because you cast Anya Taylor or Anya, whatever her fucking name is.
I think Anya Taylor-Joy is correct.
She's too big of a cast to just be the one scene.
I mean, you'd think so. Yeah.
Well, the same thing's true for Florence Pugh. Like,
right.
Marulon's going to have a much bigger part
for sure.
in Messiah.
I mean, I think Denis pitched her into this movie.
Oh yeah,
saying
because
that.
of that. Yeah.
Not that I can't imagine people wouldn't do it anyway.
I mean, I think these guys like him and like Tarantino, like God, why can't I think of dude's name? Dark Knight.
Christopher Nolan.
I mean, people will show up for cameos in those movies.
That's what
Big
I think.
actors.
Yeah.
I want to counter my own point from earlier about Timothée Chalamet sounding silly when he yells all the time. I did really like the scene where he goes south. And just leans into it all the way.
Yeah.
I think you said that was different from the books, but I loved that. I thought that was a really fun scene.
Yeah, he just, again, that's a bit where you can streamline the story, which is that, and it's, thanks for sci-fi, we'll give you the mechanism to make it work.
Right.
You can see every possible future, and it turns out where the one where you're evil is the best future.
Right.
And now you know. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, well, fuck it, okay. And he does the bit where he leans forward and he talks about it being a Fremen name, and the way he delivers the word Dune, I fucking almost jumped out of my seat.
I mean, one thing I will say negative on him, I think in the first one, he had to be in better shape because he was going to have his shirt off, and then this one he wasn't. And honestly, sometimes when him and Zendaya are making out, it's hard to tell them apart.
Interesting. I think this movie solidifies him and Austin Butler as movie stars.
100%. I said this to you, but I really hope we don't find out either one of them are creeps.
Yeah.
Because I'm all in on both those guys.
Yeah, Austin Butler he's phenomenal as Fate. I mean, just unreal that he pulls off. We talked about what's his butt fucking the ground. God, it's Saltburn.
Barry Kogan.
I'm much more on board with Fade, Austin Butler's Fade being like, what's going to happen when I put my hand in this box? And then getting a raging boner. The way he does that, I'm like, oh, I'm in. He's fucking weirdo, but I'm in. By the way, Getty Prime, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever fucking seen on a movie. That whole scene is unreal how gorgeous it is.
Yeah.
Doing the photo negatives of the fireworks.
Yeah.
By the way, the same thing he did in Arrival for the alien language.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have noticed that.
I wouldn't have either. I haven't watched Arrival in so long.
I saw it much later than everybody else.
Yeah.
I could keep going, but I'm going to stop. I've talked a lot.
I'm sure I had other things to say on this. I guess I don't. I guess I'm done. I guess there is one other thing we should talk about that is probably the aspect of this movie that people have most had conversation about, and that is the horrifying yet fuckable popcorn bucket.
Yes. What a weird choice. How did that make it through people? A lot of people had to see it.
I mean, I know there was at least one person in the line who saw it and moved it forward because of that.
Yeah.
You know,
It feels like something that got pushed up as it did, and then it went too far.
It's free promo, dude.
I know this will be meme worthy. I know some bad shit's going to go down with it, but let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I saw one for sale on Facebook Marketplace for like $85.
That's so funny. Also, I don't know a lot about Rebecca Ferguson besides the few movies I've seen her in. But I've seen some of her interviews on this press tour, including one where they present her with the AMC bucket, which she didn't know anything about. And that woman is hilarious.
She's so weird. She's really great in it.
Yeah.
And every movie should cast her so that she can go on a press tour. Because she has the best sound bits. She does not give a fuck how weird she is. And it's a delight.
Man, let's get her and Robert Patrick in a movie so they can do press
that would
together.
be fun, too. Yeah. She's great in this movie. Jessica may be a little too direct, but apparently not direct enough.
I guess so.
I don't have much else.
All right.
I guess that's it. I mean, I loved this.
I loved it.
I can't wait to get a third one.
I've tried to fit in a second showing every day this week.
Right.
I haven't been able to do it, but it's coming. And Messiah cannot come soon enough. The Bene Gesserit show on Max is probably enough of a motivator for me to buy Max again.
Right. Well, I never stopped stealing that.
Yeah.
I was paying cold hard cash for it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's probably it for Dune 2.
Here you go.
I feel like there should be a fun portmanteau there, but I can't figure it out.
If you could give it a name, what would you name it?
Oh, like Dune Messiah, but for...
Yeah.
Oh, no. Everything sounds corny. My first thought was like Dune Uprising, but that sucks. It could be Dune Revelation. No, that's too bad, too. Let's see. Come on, we can do this.
I mean, I would name it Lisan al-Hayib because I think it's the funniest bit in the movie. I just think every time he does something in Stilgar being like, Lisan al-Hayib.
I mean, look, Stilgar is just Morpheus from The Matrix 2 in this movie.
Yes.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a complaint. I think they have to do it to streamline the story, but I do hate that he's kind of comedic relief and he's just so on board right away.
Well, what helps, though, is that he's good comedic relief.
Yeah, that's true.
He's an engaging dude.
He's good in this movie as that part.
Dune, The Empire Strikes Back.
There you go. Except not the Empire. The opposite. The Rebellion Strikes Back.
Which one of you sent the Anakin meme the other night?
I think I did.
Yeah.
With Anakin like sand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great bit. There's some good ones. There's some good memes out there about this movie.
But that's it for Dune.
It's better than Transformers.
It is better than Transformers. I bitched about it a lot, but I want to be clear. It is both better than Transformers and...
worth your money.
Worth your money. Absolutely worth going to see in a theater.
Definitely go see it in a theater. I'm becoming less and less enamored with the theater experience, but this is something that needs to be experienced.
It's the last... I cannot remember the last time that I experienced something like that in a theater. And it was, packed.
Yeah.
And it just affects you in a way seeing it in that environment.
Did you guys read the thing that Timothée Chalamet says he started acting because of The Dark Knight?
I did see that.
Did that make you feel incredibly old?
I didn't even really think of it in that terms. It just made him more likable because I figured he would pick some obscure French film or something like that. But also, fuck, if that's what you got started acting for, you must have had a real boner that you got to be in these movies.
Yeah.
Because this was very similar experience to watching The Dark Knight in the theater.
Yeah, that's true. Also, this character is, I think, probably very close in a lot of ways to Heath Ledger's Joker.
Right.
Like, the way he plays Paul in the last third of this movie is just like, not quite Chaos Agent, much more directed than that, but the intensity is there. Much more so than, say, Joaquin's Joker.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that is it for Dune. What have we been watching last week, guys?
I didn't watch much, really anything. Life's been too crazy. So I'll talk about something that I have been watching weekly. You know, I'm getting to an age now, guys, where I don't have a lot of time for content anymore.
Right.
And when I do watch TV...
I want to stop you right there, because are you current on Critical Role?
No. Well, I'm one behind, but that takes up a lot of time. And I listen to it as a podcast at work, because the government doesn't need my full attention.
They don't. They don't pay you for that.
No. Hell no. So when I do watch TV, which is typically after my kids go to bed, I want something chill, relaxing, calming.
Right.
So I've been watching Live with David Chang, where he cooks a meal live on Netflix with two guests. And what I really appreciate it, if you're unfamiliar with David Chang, he's, celebrity chef, very popular, owns Momofuku, which is a great Asian restaurant you can find in, most metropolitan areas. Buy the ramen. It's great ramen. I have some in my pantry right now. Yeah. But he cooks a meal live with two guests there, and what I really, really like about it, one, I just like David Chang in general, but two is that this guy, professional chef, celebrity chef, and he talks a lot about how hard it is, how different it is to cook with people over than it is to cook in a restaurant. And in a restaurant, it's all about perfection and all this stuff. But when people are over, you're engaging, you're talking. He fucks shit up all the time.
Right.
And it makes me feel better about myself. That when I fuck shit up, it's okay. So does David Chang. And it's a real joy. Week in and week out. It wasn't on this week, so I'm kind of sad it's already over because there's only like 6 or 7 episodes.
Oh, no. I was going to say, this sounds like it might scratch my chef shit.
I think you would like it. It's better than Transformers, and you should watch it if you need a calming hour in your day.
I love a cooking show.
Yeah, me too. I watch a lot of... My kids are really into Beat Bobby Flay.
Sure.
Which is fine for me. I enjoy that show too. But we watch a lot of cooking TV.
Yeah, there's a he's like a PBS guy, but I see him on YouTube. I think his name is Jacques Pepin. Old French guy. I just like watching him cook eggs.
It can't be Jacques.
Oh, I have seen this guy.
He just loves to fucking cook eggs.
Yeah.
Man,
he talks a lot about perfecting an egg.
Yeah. I can zone out on that shit.
Yeah.
I also have been pretty busy this week. I'm still learning lots of YouTube stuff. I have been watching one show, but I think we're going to cover it maybe next week. So I won't talk about that. I guess here's something I can talk about. For the first time in 6 years, I have participated in social media.
Wow. Oh, wow. What did you do?
I got back on Instagram.
Oh, interesting.
Sarah has been
Is that why it crashed the other day?
It might be. It might be. Why I picked Instagram, I think would make sense when I say why. The two reasons why I had initially quit social media. The first one was creative. I started to realize the funniest take I had on anything, if I waited an hour, somebody would do it. Mm-hmm. It's why Saturday Night Live sucks now. They're competing with, a million people every week making that joke before they get a chance to go on the air. The other one was more moral. I just think social media is making people dumber and meaner. Mm-hmm. And, I thought even if that's not how you're participating in it, you are participating in the ad revenue, so you're participating in it. So I was like, fuck it, I'm done with this. But, fuck it, the Titanic's singing and I don't have a big enough bucket. And Sarah's been on me to be less of a hermit, so I got back on, and it was I'm not going to necessarily say that it was nice to reconnect with people because I didn't reconnect with anybody. I just saw that they're still out there. Oh, I remember you.
It's nice to lurk on people.
You're mainly doing the same shit.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to go worse than Transformers on social media. I also tried Threads, which is their version of Twitter, except nobody's fucking on it.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I don't want to do Twitter because it's just so goddamn awful there. But this is a plea. Let's make Threads happen as a people.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't like Facebook either, so I don't really like giving them money either. But
definitely Facebook is the worst of everything.
Yeah.
Facebook ruined the world.
I also, in many ways, feel like we're making people dumber and meaner, but just slower, once every week or 2 weeks.
See, I think that's different because you can listen to this and be like, no, those guys are the idiots.
Correct.
That's a very optimistic. I like that too. Okay. I haven't watched too much this week. I just finished watching the movie that I suggested a while back that we watched called Self-Reliant, the movie with Jake Johnson, where he gets recruited into like a death game.
Oh, yeah.
The premise is he's just a regular guy, kind of down on his luck, gets recruited by Andy Samberg, real life Andy Samberg, into a game where if he has to survive 30 days from people who are actively trying to hunt him and kill him, but they will only kill him if he's alone. And so he spends the whole time trying not to be alone and not to be murdered.
Right.
And a lot of the movie is spent with him trying to explain the situation to other people and other people thinking he's absolutely insane and making it all up. Because, again, the only time any of these people will show up is if nobody else is there. And then, not that long into the movie, you start being like, is any of this shit real? It's pretty good. I quite liked it. It's definitely like a weird tonal movie because I think it is a comedy. But it also does have the like loose threat of Jake Johnson could get like murdered at any point.
So here's how you sell me on this. Because when you tell me this premise, immediately the first thing I talk about, does he have to talk someone into going into the bathroom with him?
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, then I want to see this.
Yeah, I think it's better than Transformers. It's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's good stuff.
Oh, well, then yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't have anything else that I'm watching, but just, breaking, well, not by the time this comes out, but recent news, Akira Toriyama died at 68, which I thought Japanese people lasted way longer than that.
Well, also, who knew Akira Toriyama was only 68 years old?
Right.
I mean, that's a good point.
He's been writing for 45 years. He was 23 when he started.
That's nuts.
Yes, like crazy.
But I genuinely don't feel like it's underselling it to say without Dragon Ball Z, anime doesn't take off in the West.
I mean, I was going to say, is there anyone who's more important in getting anime in America than him?
No.
There were guys before. Akira got it here, like, of course, there was lots of repurposed cartoons, but I don't think anything did it like Dragon Ball did.
Yeah.
Well, and so much of, that's anime, right? Like,
right.
You had things like Speed Racer or Astro Boy or things
right.
like that may have predated it, that just you kind of sold as Saturday morning cartoons
right.
almost. But the things that were like anime, like fucking Gundam Wing or something that
right.
may have existed prior to, they had a fan base, but then fucking Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z come around and it just explodes.
Right, and I definitely think Gundam breaks in America without I mean, it's just like, I don't really think there was anything like that on American TV before that. I can remember one of my earliest exposures with it. It's basically just a 20-minute episode of them in the sky, glowing and arguing with each other about to fight. Like, they do whole episodes like that. It was crazy.
Yeah.
They do a lot of episodes.
Yeah, they do a lot of
the episodes are that.
Yeah. I rewatched Dragon Ball Z not too long ago, but today, of course, after being announced, I rewatched the best moment in Dragon Ball Z, which is Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2. It's a killer moment, and I think it just encaptures what's great about that show. One, it's a shonen show. It's for little boys who want to grow up to be big and strong and beat up the bully, right? Like but there's what causes Gohan to do it is Android 16 gets killed by Cell, and Android 16 tells him, like, because you love life, you have to fight for life, and it's this like beautiful little moment, and then Cell just squishes on his head in the middle while he's talking, and it sets Gohan off, and it actually is a genuinely beautiful scene. And it's really, really good, and of course we'd waited so long for Gohan to do anything in that show. It felt like such payoff. Like, it really just kind of sad news, and he's been dead for like 8 days.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but I do feel like Gohan is the spirit animal for Christian and I's generation.
Oh, absolutely.
In the sense that, Dragon Ball is Goku's story. It's just Journey to the West with additional hijinks.
Right.
Dragon Ball Z comes around. Goku's a little bit older. We weave in the Superman mythos.
Right.
And we meet Gohan. And it's implied from the early on that Gohan is innately more powerful than anybody else, and anything anybody could imagine, whatever. And so, like, through the series, that continues to grow. He's always kind of timid. He's never quite as, like, gung-ho as Goku is, but he, like, gets stronger and whatever. And then the Cell arc is, like, oh, I'm achieving the potential. This is supposed to be, it feels like narratively, the passing of the torch moment, right?
Right.
This is like, okay, this was Goku's story. We've moved on to Gohan. He's now the most powerful person. It's his story now. And then the next time we see Gohan, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy for the rest of the fucking story.
It's such a weird choice.
It's just like the perfect... like the emblematic of like the wasted potential, you know, or just like, you know, potential that achieved nothing.
Well, so much of anime now, especially shonen things, is like Gohan's the archetype, not Goku.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's definitely true.
That so many of those main characters are doing that
modern
story.
Stuff, yeah,
modern, and that's what I mean. Like a lot of people who are making anime and manga today, they're like, well, we're not going to fucking do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to make the other guy. We're going to actually tell that story, but. I don't know. It's a sad day.
So I'm not as in the weeds on this as you, so I'm trying to find out if this is something that actually happened or I just misremember it. But isn't there a part of the story where the characters who have died are in heaven and they all have little halos?
There's so many fucking...
That's fucking great.
And a hell.
I love that.
I was thinking about that the other day because there's a lot of things about that. Like, the afterlife is certain.
Right.
It's not only certain, it's a physical place that you can go to and from.
Right.
But I was thinking about that, exactly what you're talking about, because you spend a lot of time on, like, Snake Way, you're in heaven, you're afterlife, but at some point Goku falls into hell. And you get to hell, and it's like, hell's not that bad.
No, these people kind of, like, live in bubbles. And
they're kind of chilling, but maybe it could be a little better, but it doesn't seem awful.
Right.
Yeah, they're just stuck in cocoons.
Yeah. It's good shit.
I think if there was like a filter that you could run this podcast to where we all had the Simpsons nerd voice, this would be the episode.
The whole episode.
Because this episode was real in the weeds.
Yeah, you know what's funny? We got to fucking end it. But on the way here, I thought to myself, at some point today, I'm going to go, what a fucking dweeb you are. Like, about myself.
Yeah.
And then it still happened, and I didn't even catch it. I just let it go.
There are episodes I recommend to people. I don't know if this one will be one of them, unless they're an in the weeds person.
I have 3 children. I promise I've had sex. Like, I have evidence.
We don't know they're yours.
Have you seen Archer?
We've actually had this exact conversation on the podcast before. I can't do it again. All right. I think that's it.
Sure.
So next week, are we doing the bear?
Well, I think we will be able to do the bear.
We're going to be doing the bear.
Yay.
Yeah. So tune in next week for that very, as always, a timely and pertinent covering of a popular TV show from last summer.
I mean, I think the 3rd season comes out in like 3 months.
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
We're ahead of the curve.
Exactly. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Please rate, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach out at realphonies@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at realphonies. At Real Phonies.
Dude.
And on Instagram, Real_Phonies. Thanks, Zach Evans, for art, and Brian Velasquez for our theme. We'll see you guys later.
That's because you were talking shit on
Now
Denny's
I have
movie.
to fucking leave that in because it was funny. Damn it.